Welcome everyone, this is Math 105, Lesson 17, Translating Variable Expressions. Now on the first page of the packet, you're going to see a bunch of keywords on the left that are associated with each mathematical operation. So what I'd like everybody to do is take a look at this list and start to familiarize yourself with the various words and phrases that are associated with each operation. For example, addition, more than, added to, the sum of, the total of, those types of things. Now there's a few things to keep in mind. Addition and multiplication are a little easier to work with because order doesn't matter with those operations. But with subtraction and division, order does matter. So let's take a look at a couple of these subtraction keywords. You have the difference between x and 1. Notice that the expression is in the same order that they're given in the phrase. X comes first in the phrase, so it's x minus 1. Compare that with subtracted from. P subtracted from 12. Well, in that case, we're starting with 12, and we're subtracting p from it, so you reverse the order and get 12 minus p. So be careful with the order with subtraction. One nice thing about division is that they're always in the same order, so v divided by 15 is v over 15. The quotient of y and 3 is y over 3. So whatever order they're given in the phrase, it's the same order in the expression. Now once you've gone through and familiarized yourself with the phrases, what we're going to do now is to translate some simple expressions. And a simple expression has a definition, a precise definition. It's a mathematical expression consisting of one operation, and that's the key. There's only one mathematical operation. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or a power. And there are two numbers or variables. So two numbers or variables connected with one single mathematical operation. That's a simple expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by translating some simple expressions. So please do your turn number 1. Just a reminder that I don't pause the video while you're working on your turn. So pause on your end when you get done with your turn number 1, then restart the video. So for A, we got the ratio of 6 and y. Ratio is division. First thing mentioned is the 6, then the y, so 6 over y for part A. B, the difference between 8 and x. Difference is subtraction, so 8 minus x. B, increased by 12. Increased by is addition, so B, and we're going to increase it by 12, so add 12 to it. B plus 12. D, 2/3 of z. A fraction of something is multiplication. So we'll do 2/3 times z. And another way of writing that is 2z over 3. Just don't put z in the denominator. That's something different. E, the cube of r. Cube is to the 3rd power. So that is r to the 3rd power. F, 2 more than n. More than is addition. We're starting with n, and we want 2 more than n, so n plus 2. The 4th power of m. 4th power is the exponent, so m to the 4th power. 4 less than v. We're starting with v, and we're removing 4 from it. So that is v minus 4. The product of 3 and d, product is multiplication, so that is 3d. Don't need to write the multiplication symbol in between. If we have a number next to a variable, it's assumed to be multiplication. And finally, the quotient of 5 and c. Quotient is division, so we get 5 over c. So that is all there is to translating simple expressions. Just make sure you get the operation right and the order right. Now what we're going to do is work on compound expressions. And compound expressions have more than one operation. So what we're going to do is break these things down into simple expressions, and we're going to translate one simple expression at a time. So here's an example of a compound expression. 3 less than the product of x and y. So first thing we need to do when we look through this is to find a simple expression, keeping in mind that there's only one operation, one mathematical operation. So let's start here. 3, got a number. Less than is subtraction. Product is multiplication. So we have an operation here and an operation here. That means we can't start translating here because we don't have a simple expression here. We ran into two operations, and a simple expression only has one. So if you run into your second operation without encountering the second variable or number, you can't start there. So instead of starting there, let's try starting here. The product of x and y. Product is multiplication, so we're going to multiply x times y. So the translation of that part of the sentence is xy. All right, so we've gone through and we've translated the one simple expression. Now we're going to translate another one. It's not quite a simple expression, but it is if we consider xy to be one thing. Now we've got 3 less than this thing. So there's our number, 3, less than is our operation, and if we consider xy to be one thing, here's our other thing. So 2 things in one operation. So it's basically a simple expression. Now 3 less than is subtraction, so we're going to start with xy, and we're going to remove 3 from it. So that translates into xy minus 3. Now for your turn number 2, what I'd like everybody to do is go through these and first identify the simple expression in each one. And once you've identified all 4 simple expressions, then we'll go through and translate. So let's do part A together. 2 more than the quotient of x and y. So the simple expression there, the quotient of x and y. One operation, quotient, 2 numbers and or variables. So part B, we've got the difference between 12 and the product of x and 2. So you got difference, there's subtraction, product is multiplication, one number. So that means we can't start there because we have 2 operations and just one number. So instead, let's start over here. The product of x and 2. Product, one operation, 2 numbers and our variables. There's our simple expression for that one. Now for C, got the product of y and z squared. This one's a little tricky. We've got product, and then we have a power. Well, the simple expression is actually the power, because this is actually 2 variables. Z squared is z times z. And finally, D, the sum of 2 times y and 3. And for this one, we have the sum of 2 times operation, addition, a number, another operation. Can't start there. So we have our second operation. So instead, we're going to start here. 2 times y. 2 numbers and our variables, 1 operation. All right, now for each of these, the next step is to go through and translate the underlying phrase. So go ahead and do that for each one. Right, so there's the underlined phrase translated. Here we got the quotient, that's division of x and y, so x over y. For part B, the product of x and 2, product is multiplication, 2 times x. Z squared, well, it's just z squared. 2 times y, times is multiplication, so 2y. Right, now the last step in all these is to translate the remainder of the phrase. So we're going to do 2 more than x over y. More than is addition, so that means we're adding 2 to this thing, so plus 2. X over y plus 2. Now for B, we want the difference between 12 and this thing. The difference is subtraction, so we do 12 minus 2x. Now you've got the product of y and z squared. Product is multiplication, so we're going to multiply y with this thing, z squared. So y, z squared. The sum of 2 times y and 3, sum is addition. So we're going to take 2 times y, or 2y, and add 3 to it. So 2y plus 3. So that's the basic idea. Now we're going to look at a few special cases that come up. And the first one involves parentheses. Now, some expressions will require including parentheses, and this occurs when we want to multiply something by things that are added or subtracted. All right, we're going to translate this. The product of 3 and the sum of x and y. So the second part here, the sum of x and y, that's our simple expression. Sum is addition. We got 2 numbers and a variable, so x plus y. Now, we're going to do the product of 3 and this thing. But we have to multiply by the entire expression. In order to make that happen, we have to put this expression inside parentheses. And the 3 goes on the outside. And I believe I wrote that down wrong. Oh, that's supposed to be x and 7, not y. So that doesn't actually change anything. Except the y. There we go. All right, now, if we had not included the parentheses, we would have 3 times x plus 7. Or 3x plus 7. But when we distribute, this ends up equaling 3x plus 21. So a very different result. So make sure you include parentheses whenever you're multiplying by things that are added or subtracted. All right, now you're going to do the part. It says careful reading is required. And we're going to compare 2 expressions that have the same words, just in a little different order. So let's start by identifying the simple expressions in both of these. Right, we have the sum of x and 7, and the bottom one's 4 times x. Right, and down here we got 4x. And now we're going to do, so here we started with a sum, now we're going to do the product 4 times, multiplication. And since we're multiplying by something that's added or subtracted, we have to put in parentheses and put the 4 on the outside. So we're going to multiply by the entire expression. But here, we're only multiplying the 4 times the x. Now we're going to add it together with a 7. So here we get 4x plus 7. And here we get 4 times x plus 7, or 4x plus 28. So a very different result, depending on how it's worded. Slightly different wording, different result. All right, next up, your turn number 4. We've got a couple of 2-operation phrases. So part A, the difference between 7 and the product of x and y. All right, this simple expression is the product of x and y. So that is x times y. And now we want the difference between 7 and this thing. Difference is subtraction, same order, 7 minus xy. All right, now, part B. We're going to start with the sum of 3 and z. Now, we can't start with a ratio because there's division, addition, 2 operations. Can't start there. We have to start here. We have 1 operation, 2 numbers and our variables. The sum of 3 and z. 3 plus z. All right, now we'll do the second part. The ratio, which is division of this thing and 8. So it's this thing divided by 8. 3 plus z over 8. Up next are some advanced compound expressions, and these expressions contain any number of operations. And we're going to use the same process of breaking it down into one simple expression at a time. Seven less than the product of 3 and the total of x and 8. So let's find a simple expression. 7, right, there's our first number and our variable. Less than is subtraction. Product is multiplication, so I can't start there because I already did my second operation. All right, let's try starting at the product. All right, multiplication, number, addition. Second operation, can't do here. So let's go all the way over to the end, and we'll start with the total of x and 8. There's one operation, two numbers and or variables. Total is addition. So we'll start by translating that into x plus 8. All right, next up, we're going to go over to the next operation and start here. Now we'll do this part. So now we got the product of 3 and this thing. Product is multiplication, so it's 3 times this thing. And it has to go in parentheses. 3 times x plus 8. All right, and finally, now we're going to do 7 less than this thing. Less than the subtraction, so we're going to take this thing and subtract 7 from it. 3 times x plus 8 minus 7. Your turn. The product of 5 and the sum of the product of 2 and x and 9. All right, start by underlining the simple expression. So if we start here, the product of 5 and the sum, all right, there's our second operation, can't start there. Sum of the product, 2 operations, can't start there. Let's start right here, the product of 2 and x. Product is multiplication, so that is 2x. All right, now we'll come out all the way down to here, and we're going to do the sum of this thing and 9. So sum is addition, so that turns into 2x plus 9. And now we're going to do the product, which is multiplication, of 5 and this thing. So 5 times this thing. So 5 goes on the outside, this thing goes in parentheses, and we have 5 times 2x plus 9. Your turn, number 6. The difference between the quotient of 2 and x and the product of x and 3. All right, now a hint on this one, it's a little bit different because instead of just one, there are actually 2 simple expressions that can be translated on the first step. This will happen occasionally. Difference between the quotient of 2 and x and the product of x and 3. All right, let's find our 2 simple expressions. And they can be done one at a time, but you can do both. The quotient of 2 and x, there's a simple expression. The product of x and 3, so there's a simple expression. Product is multiplication, so that is 3x. Quotient is division, so this is 2 divided by x. Now the last thing we have to do then is translate the difference between that and that. Difference is subtraction, so this is 2 over x minus 3x. Your turn, number 7. The sum of x and the quotient of the difference between x and 8 and 4. Alright, there's our simple expression, the only place we can start and get one operation and two numbers of variables. So the difference, that's subtraction between x and 8, so that is x minus 8. Our next piece. Alright, we're going to start here, the quotient. Quotient is division. The quotient of this thing, x minus 8, and 4, x minus 8 over 4. And then finally, we're going to add on this piece, so the sum of x and that thing. The sum is addition, so x plus that thing. X plus x minus 8 over 4. So the reason we're working on translating phrases like this is because a lot of word problems have mathematical expressions and relationships embedded right into them. So part of working on those word problems will be doing a translation here today.